17. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so today, um, I just want to keep my promise to you all. And then today we're going to be talking about the Ascend protocol. Okay. Right, and the goal of this class is just so you guys get a good understanding of how to handle yourself mentally and emotionally. Right. So I'm going to just go in depth to actually explain what the Ascend actually means. And hopefully it actually helps you all on your journey to consistency. So what does Ascend mean? So the class is actually recorded. So even if I'm going to post it to the group once we are done. So what does Ascend means? To ascend, A means abundance, SJ means self-trust, CJ means conviction, EJ means elevated emotion, NJ means neutrality, and DJ means detachment. Okay, so how then does this actually affect you as a trader? So the goal of this ascent protocol is that you want to use this ascent protocol to keep yourself in check mentally and emotionally. Okay? You want to use it to keep yourself in check mentally and emotionally. Now I'm going to explain this in terms of the opposite of each of all this, and we can then be able to see how your state of being as a trader actually affects your ability to be profitable. So first thing first, abundance. So in terms of trading, we want to see abundance to be in the sense that you already have whatever you are seeking, right? Abundance simply means I'm in a state of wholeness, I'm in a state of unity, I'm in a state of oneness where I already have. Now, in terms of money, because whatever you want to do as a trader, it's going to boil down to money. Now, the opposite of abundance is lack, right? Or scarcity. Via my experience, I found out that whenever you're trading in a state of scarcity, a state of scarcity is the same thing as a state of lack. Sorry, it's a state of lack, it's a state of scarcity, it's a state of neediness, it's a state of desperation, right? This will be the opposite of abundance, right? Now, in this state of lack, majority of the time, although your technical edge is still okay, but because this is the state you're coming into the market from, or this is the state you're coming into the market in, what's going to happen is that the market is going to reflect back to you this state of being, right? And I've seen this. If you're a trader, if you've ever been into a losing streak, I can bet you that this is one of the reasons why you died into a losing streak. You became needy. You became desperate for something. Maybe you start to set a goal, a money goal, like, okay, I'm going to turn $100 to like 1,000. I'm going to turn $100 to like 2,000 daily, or I'm going to turn $1,000 to like 10K daily. The moment you dive into that state, you became needy, you became desperate. Most guys will be able to resonate with this easier because in terms of relationship with a lady, if as a guy you're going to there's a girl you want to get into a relationship with, and then you are in a state of neediness, desperation. It's easy that you're going to repel. That's a repelling energy. You're going to repel the girl away from you. But when you move like you already have this girl, you move like she's already yours, right? What's going to happen is that you're going to largely be in a state of abundance, right? And in this state, the girl is going to easily fall for you because you're moving in a state of wholeness. You're whole. You don't need her to complete you, right? You need to bring that same understanding into the market. In the market, so long as you're moving in a state of where you lack money, this is why an unprofitable trader is going to largely be unprofitable until he shifts his state. Whereas those who are profitable consistently they stay red. It's like they remain profitable. Okay. This is because they're not moving in a state where they need anything from the market. If you've read the book Trading in the Zone, this is where Mark Douglas actually said that the market does not owe a trader anything. right? All you do as a trader is that what you come into the market, you watch out for whatever the market is doing. Let's say if gold is buying, do you have a model to understand this buy? Is gold showing you a reason for you to buy it? If it's showing you, then you take the buy. But we're not going to come into the market wherein I want to force the market to like produce $1,000 for me, right? Whenever you're in a state of neediness and desperation as a trader, most times you start to see the market in a way you won't see the market on a normal day. So because you're in a state of neediness, it's like your perception is blurred, right? You won't be able to see clearly. So the first thing we want to do is I want to always come to the market from a state of abundance. Now, personally, how I trick my mind to be in a state of abundance, in a state of already having it, because we need to look at the real thing. And I think this is a popular quote in the trading environment where they say the best traders, they actually look out to take the best trade. Money is secondary. Now, we need to look out for, we need to really see things from a perspective where as a trader, you already have what makes money. And what do we have that makes money? We have an edge that works, right? To have an edge, we have risks, we have an understanding of risk management or risks in general, and then money, right? And then we have a state of being. Is this state of being I'm trying to teach you guys now, right? We have a state of being. These are the three things that makes you money as a trader. This state of being is popularly called psychology, but I prefer to call it state of being because it makes sense for me that way, right? Now, these are the three things that makes money. And so long you have these three things, you actually need to start to see yourself as somebody that already has money because you already have these three things. Okay? So this is how personally I die down, what's it called? I die down scarcity. I'm not in a state of scarcity. I'm not in a state of neediness. I know my edge works. And because your edge works, you want to respect yourself and respect your edge, right? Because if I'm coming to the market in a state of neediness, I'm literally saying I don't have what it takes. I don't have I'm like, I'm desperate, right? And the opposite of that is abundance. And what does it mean to be in a state of abundance as a child? Is a state where you know you already have all it takes. You have the edge, you have an understanding of risks. And let me just teach you guys what risks mean for me. Risks is just simply a gateway to multiplication. Okay, because most traders they struggle with fear of losing. Fear of losing is the same thing as being in a state of scarcity or neediness, right? Whenever you are scared of losing, right? What happens is that what you're already picturing lack in your experience, right? So personally, I describe bricks to be the gateway to multiplication, right? Because that's what we do as trader. Let's say you have a $2,000 account. Whenever you're taking risks as a trader, what are you looking for? You're looking out to do what? You're looking out to multiply that money, right? So this way, there'll be no need to be scared because you'll be scared of losing because you're not trying to lose here. You're doing what? You're looking out to multiply money, right? Now, what does money mean to me? Money is simply a means of expression. Money, let's say you have a $2,000 trading account. Money is going to just, that $1,000 is simply for the expression of your edge, right? If you see an edge, you're going to do what? You're going to express that edge with whatever sum you have, right? If you have a real account, you're going to express that edge you're having in the market or you're seeing or you've identified as an opportunity in the market with that money. That's what risks and money means. This way, I take away the emotional baggage of feeling of or being scared to lose. I'm not scared because there's nothing to be scared of. The action I'm taking in the markets, let's say which is going to be the risk, is towards multiplication, right? So there's no need to be scared of losing. There's nothing to be scared of here. Because what fear is psychologically, fear is your response to threats. Whenever something is threatening to you, right? The thing is, there are deeper way I can explain this. Whenever you're having an emotion of fear, what you're actually doing is that your body is responding to how your body is responding to a threat. But the thing is that if you can redefine what risk means to be something good, who wouldn't like to multiply or multiply his money? So in this context, risk now becomes something good. So your body is no longer responding to risk in the form of a threat. Risk is no longer something that's threatening to you. The money is now a means of expression. You're just expressing your edge with money, right? So this is it for abundance. Abundance is just coming from a state of wholeness, right? And what is our wholeness as a trader? Our wholeness as a trader is our edge, our risks, and our state of being. Then the next is self-trust, right? Self-trust is your ability to do what? To trust yourself, right? To believe in yourself, to know that you already have it already, okay? And then conviction is you knowing that your edge works. I'm just trying to simplify this to how easy it's going to be. Self-trust is the ability to trust yourself to act in your own best interest. If I see my edge, I trust myself to actually execute my edge, right? Conviction is having an understanding that what my edge works. And since your edge works, your job is just to move in line with that edge that works. If my edge works, I just need to trust myself to act out that edge, which is to execute that edge wholly. I want to, in fact, when I'm executing my edge, I should be happy. You should be happy. This is where elevated emotion comes in. If you know, if what you do works, you want to actually be in a state of excitement executing it as opposed to being scared of losing. The opposite of fear of losing is excitement of winning. And because my stuff works, I'm actually excited putting what I know works to good use. Right? Now, as traders, how do we develop, in order to develop your ability to trust yourself and your conviction, you now need to be disciplined. This is where discipline comes in. Right? Now, what is discipline? Discipline is simply doing what you know you should do and not doing what you know you shouldn't do. Now, if I trade XYZ model and I know that XYZ model works, my job is simply to trade XYZ model. The more I trade XYZ model, I'm going to build a self-trust in XYZ model, and then I'm going to build a conviction in XYZ model, so long as it works. If XYZ model works for me, my job is simply just to know that that stuff works and to actually act it out by trusting myself that this thing works. I'm going to like go in alignment with it. It's as simple as that, right? And the way to build your self-trust and conviction as a trader is to be disciplined. If I don't see my XYZ model, I'm not trading. There's nothing to trade there. I only trade when my XYZ model is actually displayed to me. If it's not displayed, I am not trading. Then the next is elevated emotion. So every kind of emotion you're going to feel as a trader, there's an opposite to it. If you're feeling fear, there's confidence. If you're feeling doubt, there's courage, right? If you're feeling, if you want to revenge trade, there's patience. The job, what you want to focus on is to be focused on the elevated emotion. You can use ChatGPT to list out all negative emotion a trader can actually experience. And then what you now do is that you want to train yourself in the opposite of that, right? So instead of being in a state of neediness, you can be in a state of patience. Instead of being in a state of desperation, I can be more patient. I can develop more. In fact, you now need to catch yourself doing the opposite or doing negative emotion. Whenever I feel scared, I should know that this is an opportunity for me to show confidence. The more you do that, you're going to die down that negative emotion. Elevated emotions are emotions like trust, like joy, like peace, right? Like calmness, like serenity, right? The more you stay in these emotions, the more you're going to be telling yourself that what you actually it's just like you're moving in line with this. You trust yourself, you're convicted. What you know works. You want to even celebrate ahead of time. Before it actually plays out, you want to be in a state of elevation. I'm really okay with this, right? Now, once you've executed your edge, these are the two core areas you need to pay attention to. Once, let's say I identified an opportunity market in the market, I've been able to trust myself to execute it, I've executed the edge. These are the two next things you now need to focus your attention on. What is this? Is neutrality. Neutrality is your ability to see whatever is happening in the market without giving it a meaning. So let's say, for example, this is, let's say, gold charts. Then I bought gold here, right? I bought gold on these points here, right? Now, let's say you bought gold here. After buying gold here, let's say gold taps into this POI and then gold is buying up. Now, your ability to be neutral. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys
Yes,
hear me?
yes,
So your ability to be
yes, yes.
neutral, your ability to be neutral is simply ability to not interpret this information as something bad or negative, right? So let's say, for example, you bought at this POI, gold is going in your favor. Then all of a sudden you see maybe a bearish candle coming. If you if you are not neutral, you might interpret this movement as what price coming to take you out. Whereas this is just a pullback, right? This is just a pullback. And this pullback is just to engineer price to keep going upwards. Okay, but if you identify this movement as something bad, what's going to happen is that you're going to close out this position. And once you close out this position, you come back later on and then you see price going all the way in your favor. This is why whenever you've identified an opportunity and you've accepted these risks, your job is simply to just hold on, right? And your ability to hold on is now detachment. Your ability to be detached, you just let go of the trade. Okay? And then even, let's say, for example, after taking this buy now ends up hitting your stop loss, right? Once it hits your stop loss, you now want to be able to what? Interpret this events in a way that actually suits you, right? Now, because this is your edge, if this ends up to be a loss, or you end up taking a loss in the market, what you want to do is that you still want to be neutral. right? You don't want to go interpret this as a loss in such a way that it actually affects your ability to execute that edge the next time. Because this is one thing that happens for us as traders. If you don't interpret a loss properly, it could actually start to lead you into a losing streak. Right. So how do I interpret whenever price does not go my way? I simply call it expansion because most of the time, since this is my edge and I executed this edge, there's something I saw, which is my edge that made me execute. It's not impulsive, right? This is my edge. I executed this edge. If this edge does not work, then obviously there's something to learn there most of the times. Okay, maybe I needed to be more patient. Maybe the structure, my alignment with the structure was not really accurate, right? Then I can actually learn from that loss because my expectation was to win on the edge. My expectation was to actually do what? My expectation was this was going to turn out positive. But since it didn't go that way, then sometimes there's something to learn, or this is just what the market just does, right? It's just a movement in the market. And then I can easily let go of it, and then I can easily move. Because the whole goal is that you want to at all times hold this state of being, right? I don't want a loss to make me feel like a loser that makes me now become desperate for a win. I don't want a loss to affect my ability to trust myself. I don't want a loss to affect my ability to have conviction in my edge. I don't want a loss to make me feel angry. Because if I'm feeling angry, I'm going to bring that emotion. This is the most traders they try to revenge trade. The reason why you think you can revenge the market is because you are angry. You're angry at what the market did to you. But what you need to do is to be neutral and interpret that from that event in a way that actually helps you. Right? I'm neutral. This is not really a loss. It's just an opportunity to expand. I call it expansion. You expand in wisdom or you expand in cash. So if a trade goes in your way, you simply expanded in cash. You made more money. You multiplied money. If a trade does not go your way, you simply expand in wisdom. You expand in understanding of what you need to do the next time. All right. So this is just a simple breakdown of the Ascent protocol. You just need to start to embody it when you trade. You trade from a standpoint of abundance. I don't need this win. I'm already a winner, and I'm already a winner because I have an edge that works. I understand my risks and my money, and then I hold my state of being, which is accurate, which is the proper state of being what in the state of this ascent, right? I'm already in this ascent being. I'm already an abundant trader. I'm in a state of self-trust. I'm convicted that my edge works. I have an elevated emotion where I'm excited to actually execute my edge because it works. And once I've executed my edge, I'm neutral to whatever the market is doing. I don't allow whatever the market is doing to get to me, right? For those who have read McDougall's book, he said what the moment you can create a state of being that is not affected by the market behavior, the struggle ceases to end because you stop trying to control the market, right? And then detachment, I simply let go once I've executed my edge. So this is just a rough breakdown of the Ascent protocol. But it gets deeper. Let me just put you guys onto this. For us as traders, there are two poles. Let me just write it here. There's one pole here for discipline, and there's another pole for surrender, right? There's another pole called surrender. So these are the two surrender, DER. So these are the two core areas you need to pay attention to as you trade, discipline and surrender. So you need to be disciplined in your edge. You need to be disciplined in your risks. You need to be disciplined in your money, right? And then you need to be disciplined in your state of being. Holding, personally, for me, it's just this ascent protocol. I do well to hold this ascent state. I want to always be in a state of abundance, right? Then surrender is simply you letting go. Once you've executed a trade, you let go because you cannot control the market, right? You let go. You simply let go of the outcome. Some traders call it being numb, right? Some traders they call it being numb. Whenever you are just being numb, you are not affected by whatever the market is doing, right? It's a dance between these two things that creates something called flow states. What Mark Douglas was trying to teach us, flow states or trading in the zone, right? Your ability to be in the zone is your ability to do what? Is your ability to be disciplined with your edge, with your risks, and then your ability to simply let go of whatever the market is going to do. Because there's no amount of me sitting by the chart that's going to affect the market. My sitting by the chart does not affect the market. So if I'm looking at the chart and then I've decided to say, okay, I'm going to be buying this market from here. I'm going to buy this market here with my SL here. My job is simply to respect myself, to respect my edge, to respect my journey, and simply just to hold still. I've been disciplined to identify this opportunity. I've been disciplined to manage my risks. then I now need to do what? And I need to surrender. I need to let go. So even if the market goes in my favor a bit and then is retracing, I have to be disciplined. I have to enforce that discipline to hold that chart. This is what every trader you admire is simply doing. So it's a dance between discipline and surrender, right? Where you have a job, where you have a duty, it's your discipline. My discipline is in my edge. My discipline is in my edge. Your discipline is in your edge. Your risks of money, and then this should be your state of being, right? These are the three areas you need to be very, very disciplined at. I need to be disciplined in how I'm feeling. I need to be disciplined in my technical edge. I need to also be disciplined in my state of being, in holding my state of being. Then surrender, you simply let go and let the market do its thing, right? Some people call it let go and let God. It's the same thing. You just surrender, right? It's a dance between certainty and uncertainty. This is another way to put it. Certainty being yourself, right? Your edge and your state of being, and uncertainty being the market. The market is an uncertain place. A lot of traders say it, but they don't even know what they mean. When you say the market is uncertain, you simply mean that you don't know what the market is going to do. Your job is simply to do what? Your job is simply to be focused more on your own self and what you're going to do. I don't know what the market is going to do, but I have to know what I'm going to do, right? So your flow state trading, your ability to trade properly, trade from a state of flow, is simply your ability to be disciplined and your ability to surrender. So this is all I have for you guys. You just need to start to practice it. It's going to be tough, especially your ability to surrender. I think this is one of the toughest places a trader can be because the market is on a certain place. And you need to understand also, guys, that whenever there's uncertainty, that's actually the best place. This is why anything can happen in the market. It's because of the uncertain nature of the market. Anything can literally happen. For example, just from Monday to today, gold has been buying up. It's a place of uncertainty. Your job is that if you spot your edge in between this uncertainty, your job is simply to execute it and to let go. So guys, I think this is all. Is there any question? Is there anybody with a question? Hello?
What if good happy new month, uh, new month Papa.
You said, what if?
I said what if like let's say you're trading on the norms, like you're trading like during the week you're trading, and
Yeah.
then maybe you're taking your edge on the norms.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like you take like maybe say series of losses, maybe based on maybe like just normal life stress. So you just like they active for chart and you
Mm-hmm.
like take like few back to back loss. But for you feel like see normal na your edge the trade. But even at trading, you're still taking like losses and losses. So
Good.
like what do
That's
you
it.
think is like
The root,
Gabriel, do that thing.
okay.
So like what
So
do you think is like the best like
the
option? Is it like maybe like take a break or like try to figure out everything like the reason?
It doesn't really matter taking a break because if you take a break and
Yeah.
your state of being is still tilted towards losses or losing, you'll perpetually be losing. I actually experienced this last month. I entered a losing streak. And for what I explained to
Yeah.
you guys, the first step is abundance. This thing is really very, very important. In fact, I want to make a bold statement that any trader that is in a losing streak or you're losing back to back is because you're in the opposite of abundance. And the opposite of abundance, like I teach you guys right now, is lack, neediness, desperation, right? Survival
Yeah.
even, right? So if for any reason you notice you are taking back-to-back losses, even though it looks like you're trading your edge, this is where it's crazy. It's crazy because you actually be doing the same thing, but you're going to be getting what? The opposite results, right?
Okay.
And I like the
Yes.
fact that you actually highlighted that because you're going to be doing the same thing, but it's like it's not just working. The reason why it's not working is because your state of being, majorly, you are tilted towards
Mhm.
lack, you're tilted towards neediness, you're tilted towards desperation and survival. All the market is going to do is to reflect that back to you. Right now, if you
Okay.
want to get out of that losing streak, all you need to do is to start to move in a state of abundance, right? You stop being
Yeah.
needy. right? To stop being needy. I don't need the win. I don't lack the win. This is where it now points now to the direction wherein what you have an edge. You have an edge that works. You have an edge. You have an understanding of risks and money, right? And then you
Yeah.
have your state of being. Personally, why I dabbled into a losership was because I became needy actually. I became needy. I set a goal of maybe most times when you set a goal of making, let's say you want to make like let's say 10K daily, right? That was the kind
Okay.
of goal I
Yeah.
set because I did it like once, twice, and then I was like, okay, let's just in fact, most times when you see a trader do a flip of maybe the trader took like let's say 1K to like let's say 25K. The trader did not know that that was going to happen. He was just trading, right? He was trading from
Yes.
the
Yeah.
right standpoint mentally. And that
Mm-hmm.
just happens. Unknowing to that trader, you just need to continue to trade from that right mental standpoint. The moment you start to enforce that as your daily driver, you want to also, because you did 25K 2 days straight, you want to do it consistent. You want to now be doing it every single day. What did you do? You
Mm.
enter a state of neediness, actually. You got into a state of neediness, right? You got
Yeah.
into a state of lack. In fact, the moment you made that thing your goal bar, the first time you did not get it, maybe you now take 2 trades, you took a loss for those 2 trades, you're going to become desperate, right? In that desperation, you now want to force the outcome. You come into the market every day. Your goal is that I want to do 1K to 10K. You're going to be identifying what looks like your edge, right? You'll be taking that trade.
Yeah.
It's not going to be working. Why? Because I'm in a state of neediness. It's just like a guy. Most guys will understand it, like I explained earlier on. As a guy, there's no
Mm-hmm.
if you need a if let's say there's a girl you like, you are approaching that girl, and you are coming like you need the girl. Yeah, I cannot do without you. You're my word and stuff like that. There's a time when you project that to the girl. That's already when you have her. But before you have her, if you are projecting neediness, what's going to happen is that she's going to
Mm-hmm.
repel. That's a repelling energy, right? And as a
Yeah.
guy, if you
Yeah.
look out for when you got into a good relationship, it's going to be because you just embody like, I like this girl. I'm simply just going to make it known to her that I like her. Whatever she says is none of my business. I'm just going to show you and let you know that I like you. Majority of the time, once you go in that
Mm.
energy, it's going to work. So if you're in a state of
Sure.
if you're in a consistent loop of losing, the reason is because you tapped into what is popularly called losers frequency. And how do you tap into a loser's frequency? You tap into a state where you needed wins already instead of you embodying that you're a winner. I want you guys to understand that so long as you have an edge, so long as you have an understanding of risks and money, so long as you're holding the ascent state of
Mm.
being, you're actually a good trader. You're actually winning, right? Because this is the thing that it's just like the analogy I use personally to help myself get this thing right is let's say, for example, this is an apple tree, right? Imagine an apple tree. It produces apple, right? An individual is walking
Yeah.
past the apple, is an individual walking past the apple tree, plucks an apple, right? If the apple tree starts to feel like, man, this guy just plugged me, he just plugged apple off me, I'm really useless now. It doesn't make any sense because
Yeah. Sure.
so long as you are the apple tree, you can always produce apples. But if as a trader, I feel like because you're not making 10K yet, you feel like you're not yet a good trader. Trust me, you will never become a good trader, even though your technicals is actually sound. So what you need to do is that you want to understand that because I have an edge, because I have an understanding of bricks and money, I can handle this thing properly. And I'm holding this asset state of being. I'm really, really a blessed person. I'm really, really a rich trader already. Because this is the same thing you're going to be implementing, even if you have $1 million trading account. And remember, guys, I gave you guys an explanation of how I see money. Money is simply for the expression of your edge. So even if you have $200 million in your trading account, you're still going to express an edge. You're not going to
Oh.
enter the chart and just, okay, let me just buy gold. Let me see if you're going to buy. No, there's an edge you're going to be executing. The same thing the trader who has $100 trading account is going to be doing. So the money now becomes inconsequential. The money is not the important thing. What's important is your edge, is your understanding of risks and money, and is your holding this state of being. What is risk? I've told you guys that risk is simply what? For multiplication purpose. So that the reason why I use this definition is so that my body or my emotion is not swayed whenever I'm executing my edge. So I'm not feeling fear because I want the action I'm taking is towards what? Multiplication.
Yeah.
The reason why I trader feel fear is because his body is threatened, like he's feeling threatened by something. Fear is actually a good thing if you use it positively, right? For example, if a lion
Mm.
comes, if a lion is in front of you, you're going to feel threatening. And what will you do? You will run. So most traders, they have an edge. Imagine having an edge. This edge works. You know that this edge works. You're not executing that edge. You're not feeling fear. It doesn't make any sense, right? So the action I'm
Yeah.
taking, the risks I'm
Yeah.
taking is towards multiply my money. And there's nobody in this world who wouldn't like his money to be multiplied. So if I'm truly going to be multiplying my money by taking risks, I actually love that stuff. I love it. And the more you actually train yourself with understanding, you're going to be teaching your body, you're going to be teaching yourself to respond to something differently. And over time, as you do it, your body is going to master it. Instead of being threatening by risk taking, your body is actually going to like it. Your body is going to love it. You're going to be able to do it freely.
Mm.
So guys,
Okay.
that is it. So if you're in a losing streak, all you need to do is to get out of it by what? By embodying abundance. How do you embody abundance? So long as you have an edge that works, you have an understanding of risks and money, you are holding the ascent state of being, you are not needy, you're not desperate, you're not coming from a place of lack, you're good to go. You're going to check out of that losing streak because it's the same thing you're going to be doing. But so long as you're coming into the market from a place of lack, like I need this win, I need to win, you need to prove. Okay, I forgot to add something here. You want to prove. How do I even put it? You want to prove to somebody. You want to prove to somebody or to some people, maybe online, that you're a good trader. That's you coming from a state of lack, right? Which is the opposite of abundance or scarcity. You're coming from a state of scarcity. You want to prove to traders, you want to prove. This is why whenever you just get your edge right, your risks, and you understand how to hold your state of being, get out of the internet. You don't need to prove anything to anybody that you're a good trader. You don't need to prove to anybody at all. You just need to wake up, come to the chat. Is this market showing me something that looks like an edge for me? If it is, I'm risking XYZ amounts here, and you let it be. I'm not proving to anybody that I'm a good trader. I'm not proving to anybody that I can trade. You're not proving to your mom, your dad, your girlfriend, your brothers. You're not proving to anybody. Because the moment you get into a state of proving, is a state of what you're testing that you don't have, right? And not having is a state of lack. And when you're in a state of lack, the only thing you're going to be able to create in your experience is more lack. It's just like that popular saying that says, as within, so without, right? On earth as it is in heaven. So the moment you're in a state of lack
Mm.
as a trader, the only thing you can crystallize into your experience is more lack. So I want to always come in from a place of abundance. I already have money. You already have what, because you have what, it's just like having a money printer. If you have a money printer, you have money. All you need to do is to go print the money. And what
Yeah,
as
right.
for us as traders, what's our money printer? Our money printer is these three things here. So long as you have it, you have money. So you're already abundant, you're already rich. If you want to make 10K, you just need to scale to 10K. How do you scale to 10K? Maybe you need more funds. Prop can help. Okay.
Yeah, I
Before
understand. Thank you.
All right.
Mm.
So before I also end this, I want to just give you guys this in terms of executing your edge, right? There's no model that is actually bad. I see some people saying that stacking is bad, full margin is bad, over leveraging is bad. It is not bad. It's just a means of expression of your edge, right? It's not bad. There's no model of execution that is actually bad. It's just a means of executing your edge. It's just a model for expressing your edge. There's nothing wrong there. There's nothing bad. If you want to do 1%, good. It's just a way of you expressing your edge. If you want to um use unlimited leverage, good and fine. That's just how you want to express that edge. And of course, you want to be at peace with whatever outcome you're going to actually get as the consequence of that. Okay. So I hope this helps you guys with your journey. The most important and first foundational state you need to hold at all times is abundance. You don't want to come into the market from a state of need. Because you know your edge works, you want to focus on that edge. Because you have an understanding of risks and money, keep that in mind. And because you know the state to be in. For me, I hold the ascent state. I'm always in a state of abundance. I'm always in a state of self-trust, conviction, elevated emotion, neutrality, and then detachment. So this is the core things for me. I hope this actually helps you guys on your journey.
Mm.
Is there any other question?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Okay.
Yes, I appreciate the call. I
Welcome.
want you to talk more about the self-trust because this week, starting this week, on Sunday, I analyzed Euro USD and I before the market open, I had the intentions of buying. Then I went online and saw that top traders like giving a bearish bias, and then I switched from the buying to selling, and I've been losing. And it plays out that my original bias, which was buying, is what
Yeah,
is playing out now.
good. Now, self-trust and conviction. I told you guys that the foundation is what discipline. You know where your own edge is what I should be buying. What's discipline? Discipline is doing what you know you should do, right? And not doing what you know you should not do. Your own edge told you to buy, right? And now, because you've broken your self-discipline, you've actually broken your self-trust and you've now broken your conviction. You understand? So what you need to do next time is to hold your self-discipline. Just keep that in mind. Self-discipline is following and doing what I know I should do. My edge tells me to buy. I ought to buy, regardless of whatever anybody is telling me. Even if it's an angel from heaven that comes to tell me that this thing is going to sell, I'm not believing you because my own edge tells me to do what my own edge tells me to buy. So what you need to do is to be disciplined. That's the solution, right? And you can as well see. I like how you actually ask this question because you can see how your inability to be disciplined is now affecting your ability to trust yourself. Is now affecting your ability to be convicted in that edge. Right. So if I'm having low self-trust as a trader, is a function of what my inability to be disciplined. And if I'm going to get myself back, I need to be disciplined in the sense that I need to do what? Do what I know I should do. If I know I should buy this market, I should be buying this market. If I know I should not be trading, I should not be trading. If I know I should close this position, I should close that position. If I know I should hold this position, I have to hold that position because if I do anything against my own self, it's going to affect my ability to trust myself. And if I cannot trust myself as a trader, I'm really messed up. All right. So if you want to fix yourself back, discipline, regardless of what anybody is saying, hold your own discipline, right? Do what you know you should do. It's even a form of honor. It's like honoring yourself because the reason why you saw a buy was because your edge told you to buy, right? Your edge is a crystallization of your experiences as a trader. It's a crystallization of your journey, right? Maybe you've paid for mentorship. It's like you honor yourself.